What's up guys, it's Manga Time. Once again I'm here today to bring you my review of Bleach 607, The Master. And this is just another crazy awesome fight chapter between Ichibei and Yhwach, and seriously, like, Kubo, keep this up, because this is just really cool. This week starts off with the colour page, and like, when I first saw the colour page I was like, oh, okay. Maybe not as good as I was hoping for. Having, like, because there's just not much colour on it, as is how a lot of Kubo's colour pages are. It's just a big close-up of Ichibei's crazy-ass face, and he makes a lot more crazy faces in this chapter. And it says Mysterious Monk on it. This is the manga stream translation, by the way. But upon, like, kind of closer inspection, having a look at it a bit more, I'm warming to it. I like it quite a bit, actually. There is a bit more colour on it than I first noticed, and it's just a really well-drawn picture. Again, Kubo's using the whole brush style that he kind of associates with Ichibei for obvious reasons. And it just looks really cool, and it captures Ichibei's complete craziness. And, like, because it's saying he's mysterious, it just leads me to continue to hope we actually learn more about his character, more about his backstory, his history. He's possibly one of the most interesting characters in the whole series right now. Being the head of the Royal Guard, being one of the most ancient Shinigami ever, so he holds the key to a lot of Soul Society's history, and I would love to see and, like, learn more about it, because it's just awesome. So yeah, colour page, actually not bad. It was probably not as good as I was hoping for, but it's not bad, you know, it's not bad. So the chapter ends exactly where it did last time, and I was wrong. I said that I thought maybe Yhwach was going to go Volstendig, but he doesn't. He does something pretty cool, though. He's like, you know, do I look like I'm suffering? The leader of the Royal Guard fears me so much that he has to halve my powers. How can I possibly be feeling bad? So Yhwach's getting nice and cocky. And those reams of light with the kind of Latin Roman numerals in them that were coming up around him, they're actually tangible. And Yhwach grabs it and kind of, he's able to, like, hold it almost like reams of cloth. I don't know what the hell he does, to be honest, but he says, you know, even if half my power is gone, I have the ability to bring it all back to me. Awesome looking panel. Really cool looking panel. He looks super sinister here. And I immediately thought, oh, for Christ's sake, he's going to Auschwalen the elites. That's the first thing that came to my mind. But he doesn't. I don't really know what he does. He gets his power back somehow. Maybe just taking it from the air, because he is the Quincy King and therefore his Reishi control is just unbelievable. But, you know, basically he says, and this is actually quite interesting, because Yhwach says, you know, one person can't just take something from me. And obviously he's alluding to the fact that he gives power to people. This is what he does, and we know that people take a piece of his soul, and when they die they give it back. It's like a loan. And Yhwach basically here is like, you know, no one can just take stuff from me. And we get this really awesome bit where Yhwach's like, everything in this world exists for my taking. And he's just suddenly becoming really evil and really sinister, and a little bit arrogant as well. But yeah, and then the fight just begins again, and it's just awesome, crazy, nice and even. The choreography is fucking, like, just fantastic. Basically, Yhwach stands there, I think he holds his sword out in front of him, and these massive, like, bars of light shoot up, and they just, like, aim for Ichibei. They, like, shoot straight in for him. Ichibei doesn't look overly concerned. He kind of just goes, okay. But these bars of light are, like, shooting towards him, and then it's just so epic. It's so epic. Like, these bars of light look like they're going to impale Ichibei, but he just crushes the bar of light somehow in between his hands, and like a total badass. And I have to say that Kubo's art is really on point here. Some of his artwork in these fighting chapters is just absolutely crazy. And basically Ichibei's like, yeah, you're the kind of guy who just takes kindness for granted. And basically Ichibei says that the only reason he halved Yhwach's power was to spare him the embarrassment of being defeated at full strength. Now, whether that's legitimately the reason or if he's just bluffing, it's still pretty badass. And then Ichibei flashes us another crazy face, where he's like, you know, if I crushed you at full strength, the Quincy reputation would be forever tarnished. He then just blasts towards Yhwach, and we get to see some Kido, which is awesome. Of course, the abilities Ichibei's used beforehand may also be Kido, but we don't really know that. This is a Kido spell we've seen before, Bakudo 62 Hyaporankan. And he basically says, you know, if you're dead, your reputation doesn't mean anything anyway. So he summons Hyaporankan, doesn't even need to say Bakudo 62, which is pretty awesome. He just goes Hyaporankan, throws them at Yhwach, throws these bars of light towards Yhwach. And then we finally see Blut again. Like, seriously, it's been forever. It feels like it's been forever. But Yhwach's like able to Spider-Man it out of his wrist, and like the kind of jagged bars like they hit the floor, and they create this big dome of Blut around him. And you see like on the floor around him, the Blut spread out, and it looks really cool. And Ichibei's Hyakurankan strikes it, and they kind of just like break off. And Ichibei kind of knows what this attack is. He says that's Blut Vene Anhaben, which apparently basically means wearing the blood dress or something like that. And Yhwach's like, yeah, it just takes Blut Vene and then just spreads it out into an external shield. And Ichibei's just like, that's just fascinating. And some of the like poses in this chapter are really good as well. Ichibei suddenly now just goes like this, and he's like, he uses, now this is interesting. He uses an ability called Urahado, which apparently means, at least according to Manga Stream, hidden Hardo. So is there like another branch of Kido that is like hidden and only the most powerful people know it? Like that's a bit crazy to me, because we don't see much Kido as it is. So for this suddenly to be this whole other branch, I'm kind of just resigned to the fact we're never going to find out every Kido spell, which is, you know, fair enough. Anyway, he uses this thing called Uraharo San no Do, which is the third path. And then this is just so cool, like I can't express it enough. He then uses this move called Teppu Usatsu. Basically, he swings his hand down like this, and this like huge, bulbous kind of wind dragon face appears. And even though the ability's attack is called Iron Wind Strike, so it is a wind move. And the artwork again is just so good here. Like this dragon looks awesome, and Kubo doesn't tend to like do crazy looking attacks like this, so it just makes it all the more epic to see. But it is like this big, almost Chinese dragon looking thing with like big puff cheeks because it's blowing out wind essentially. And it breaks down Yhwach's blood shield, and it's just really cool. Like, it's just really cool. The whole fight is really cool. Ichibei's like crazy as hell. He looks insane when he does this, and he like grabs Yhwach by the throat, and he's like, "Now you're mine." But apparently not, because Yhwach's Blut Vene Anhaben, or however you pronounce it, is Anhaben, sorry, is now in effect. And as soon as Ichibei touches Yhwach, the blood vein like goes up Ichibei's arm as well, and Yhwach basically says that it has the power to infect things and expand its coverage, because like basically the shield can become larger by what it touches. So it touches Ichibei and starts going up his arm, starts going into his friggin' eyeball, which is just badass. And I'm not really sure what happens here, but it's still epic. Yhwach's like, the left side of your body is finished, Ichibei Hyosebe. But Ichibei kind of like, I think he just tenses his muscles, and we see all of his veins like pop out, and you see the Blut vein just kind of break away. Like you literally see it on his veins just kind of shattering and disappearing. And like, again, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what happens, but like the veins then travel back into Yhwach, and this blood just showers everywhere. Now, what I think happens here, this might sound a bit ridiculous, but I think Ichibei forces the Blut vein out of his own veins, sends it back into Yhwach, and then it like, because there's like so much blood pressure going on here, it bursts out of Yhwach's face. At least that's what I think happens. I might be very, very wrong. But then there's another epic panel where they both jump backwards, and it's nice again to see that Yhwach is still in the space that Ichibei said he beat him in. Yhwach skids backwards, and Ichibei basically is like, oh man, you know, you break into here, you try and kill the royal guard, you try and infect everything. I'd appreciate it if you kept your insolence in check. And then he stands there and he holds his paintbrush across his face like that. And Yhwach's like holding his face, and there's like blood everywhere again. So I think because at first I thought Ichibei like crushed his face, but since he was holding his neck, it's unlikely. So that's why I think that it was like the blood just kind of burst out of his face. But anyway, then Ichibei then releases his Zanpakuto, which is just awesome. And he releases it, and the phrase is blacken, and it's Ichimonji, which is a really cool name, nice and easy to remember. But the final page is just epic. It's so cool. And like Ichibei looks creepy as hell. We've got the whole brush style shading going on his face again. No pupils again. Ichimonji looks relatively simple, but like I kind of think that lends to its badassery. It's essentially Ichibei's paintbrush, but the brush is replaced now with a short blade. And it looks very cool. Basically, Ichibei goes like that, and he swings it across, and as he swings it, it transforms into the Shikai. And it leaves a trail of paint behind it, which leads me to believe that he can still paint shit with it, but he's also now going to be able to cut stuff as well. And he looks super menacing and sinister, and that's the end of the chapter. So I'm going to drop a 9 on this week's chapter, guys. I thought it was super entertaining. I just wish they were a little bit longer, that's all. But to be honest, this week actually had just so much good stuff in it. There was a lot of nice, interesting dialogue. Again, I still want to learn more about these characters. You know, they're two of the most interesting characters in the series at the moment. And I want to know more about them. I want to know more about their abilities. I want to know more about their history. It's great to see another Royal Guard Shikai. We've seen Korinji's already. And it's interesting how similar Korinji and Ichibei Shikai's actually are. All they are really is taking the top off their weapon they carry around with them and replacing it with a blade. Obviously, Korinji's was Kimpika, the paddle it carries with him. Ichibei's is cooler, in my opinion, because I love the whole brush theme. The whole calligraphy theme is just awesome. I can't get enough of it, really. And I just love how his speech bubble is painted on with black, and there's a splat of ink. It just looks so cool, man. But I can't shake the feeling that Ichibei is going to be dead at the end of this fight. It's just going to happen. But yeah, it's also interesting as well, the nice contrast between Korinji and Ichibei's release commands. Korinji's was shine, Ichibei's is darken. That's kind of neat. But that's all there really is to this chapter this week, guys. It's just a bit of fighting. It's really awesome, though. Really well drawn by Kubo again. I just so hope he keeps this up. We've been 3 chapters now, and Ichibei's only just released his Zanpakuto, so I think we'll go at least another 3 more, maybe more than that, if we get a Bankai out of Ichibei before he dies. Of course, he might not die. Could be completely wrong. But yeah, just a super epic chapter. I don't really have an awful lot more to say than that. So let me know in the comments below, guys, what you think of this chapter. I seem really high up this week. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think of this week's chapter. Don't forget to subscribe as always. That'd be super great. And I'll catch you next time. 9 out of 10, guys. Really great. And I just hope Kubo keeps this fight going like this. It's just super awesome. Yeah, I love it. But I just want to know more. So until next week, guys. See ya.